We divvied loot again. We decided on roles because we gotta decide stuff somehow. And we looked for more quests and found there's a whole bunch of them. And now, over a period of discussion, we have decided which ones to pursue and investigate today, and continue on our quests to find the flesh dealers and beyond.
Without the quest for the search for more money, you had to select another quest, and that quest is...
Route B.
Highwayman.
The company of Frost Fox is seeking passage. The highway Kari seeking us to capture the notorious highwayman Hunla, and with the potential options of escorting a group to some place from somewhere, and a potential, we don't want it quite yet, of looking for lost mages in a rusty desert.
Alright, so you are planning to do the Enthier run.
Yes.
Yes.
Anything with a B on it is what we are going for. Or, yeah, have the potential to investigate.
Okay. Let's see, I'm trying to quickly review if there's any other Enthier ones that you were looking at.
I'm just going to start deleting the other one. Well, I'm going to cross out the ones we're not pursuing.
So Enthier actually has quite a few missions.
Yep. We don't want to clear a name of heresy charges, because that just sounds boring.
Okay. So you're considering doing the Desert of Rust.
That's at the bottom of our list, but it is there still as an option.
And you're considering to investigate a Perpetual Storm?
Is that one still in there?
Yeah.
Why not? That's us on the list. The Reef of Ghosts sounds fun.
Let me repost all the Enthier.
Okay.
So ideally, we'd get an easy win with, taking the Frost Foxes to Anthier. Also, I need to get with Cookie, soonish and figure out actually how many passengers we can take, because we have 36 crew members plus all of our other people.
We could probably stuff quite a few in there.
I remember being the number being much lower as for the number of people we could take than expected, because I think the maximum ship occupancy is 60, and then we've got somewhere around 48 of it already taken up by crew and
us. Yeah. We also have the point of we can be cramped because it's only 30 days. The last trip was like 90 days. Of which we just sat around and did nothing. Oh, we tried to train this crew.
I'm trying to get the Seeker Salvation open right now so we can see the max capacity, because it should be on there.
Maximum crew is 60. That's crew. Whether we can actually take other people is open to interpretation.
Yeah.
So, how many people days do we have of air?
7,200.
7,200. So that's 120 days for a crew of 60. And we've got 36 plus about 12 of us. That leaves us with 12 slots easily for crew.
But we're not taking crew, we're escorting people.
Right. So we've got at a maximum we can take 240 people.
Well, you can last 120 days with your full crew.
And if we wanted to last only 29 days, we could take 248 people on our ship total.
However, it would be very uncomfortable. And
Standing room only on the bottom of the hull.
Yeah. You'd basically be replacing cramming all those people into cargo space. Tends to not be seen as very positive.
We're not running the ship
Slash.
that carried Kunta Kinte across the ocean.
I know. That's our option, though.
If you call it an option, sure.
I do, I just don't call it a good one. So the question is, how many can we fit relatively comfortably for 29 days? That's a question I think is a DM
That
question.
is. However, it's also something that's slightly debatable.
Yeah, I vote for find out how many people are in the company.
You would be able to handle at least the 12 people easily, since you're only at 48 crew. Up from that, we would probably need to make a little bit of a discussion. However,
I'd
you
imagine
don't know
we
how many
could
frost
buy
boxes there
bedding.
are. You what?
So I'd imagine we could buy bedding to put in the hold and stuff and increase our comfortable capacity.
You could, pay to have basically your ship rebuilt to be a cruise liner, essentially. You'd still want some cargo space, because you still want to have enough space to
Yeah.
be able to bring enough food, but yeah.
Let's see how
There
many people are in the
is-
Frost Fox's company before we go into discussions of how we can change our ship.
Why would you want to do that?
To see if we need to actually change the ship before we take it.
Oh, now you're just being silly. Thinking. Thinking.
Let's engineer this problem. If we don't have to fix it, we won't.
What?
Madness. Can we get an investigation check for that?
Yep.
Someone to help me?
I'll help you. I'll assist you.
That's a 25 investigation.
Only a 25? Really?
Yep. Thanks for the help.
Well,
All right. Like having
I guess
advantage
it's
on
all
things
right.
makes it so low. Expected more if you with that modifier.
So, yes, you're able to find out they have a party of 9.
9?
Cool, so they fit. Well, ask how mighty they are.
The roll says there is 9.
Perfect.
Thus saith the dice, thus it is known. So, the number is 9, and the number shall be 9, and there shall be 9. What shall your choice be?
Okay. I believe we should negotiate passage for them.
Yep.
Basically, well,
Hey, Doran, come talk with them.
are there any? All right, fine. So basically, I'd approach the location of the Frost Foxes and inquire to speak with their leader about passage to Anther.
Oh, yes. Give me just one moment. I need to take care of a quick thing, and we'll continue.
I can hear that. Good luck.
That was like perfect timing. The role playing of that as their one moment, please.
Also, why are you on trial for heresy?
Ask Rio.
Are we playing Town of Salem or something?
No idea.
He said we shouldn't fix it if it isn't broken.
Hmm. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm in favor of less contractors. Unlike the people that allocate budgets.
So 9 people comfortably held. And we can fit a dozen more, so we still have plenty of space.
Yep. So no worries there. So, Cleox, do you want to make that document a to Google Docs and upload it? Or share it?
Yeah, I'm updating the ship document that's been posted,
Alright,
and I'll upload it to Google Docs
cool.
at some point.
I'm gonna make one for characters.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm partially here.
Great
Roger, Roger.
success.
Well,
Roger.
not exactly success, but
Oof.
I'm not helping right now, so I stepped away. So we'll see what happens.
Understood.
Chaos and tired children don't mix well,
Yeah.
and a heater going causes chaos. So
Mm-hmm.
where were we?
Doran was about to talk to the representative of the Frost Foxes to negotiate, um, negotiate
I see.
potential passage to Antir.
Excellent. Let me see here.
Although, should we actually do a slight little bit of retconning and act? Because I don't know if we been to Econstricken? That's not
Nope.
Econstricken.
We have not been to Anther.
If we've never been to Anther, maybe we should do a little bit of research before I get burned by having them ask questions that I don't know the answer, potentially don't know the answer to.
Well, that might be useful. So Rupert Star, Anthir, Edwina's Star, and Eakin's Trinket are all locations you have not been to.
Yes. We want to investigate and learn more about Anther Sphere if we can.
Okay? So Anthir,
It's got a Class F sun, whatever that
it
means.
does.
It's a big sun.
Big sun.
That is loading here. Give me a moment. I need to find the details on locations like that.
I can get away with retconning this because I didn't actually start the conversation. Like, yeah, let's learn a little bit more about this. Yeah.
That is true.
Potentially get away with retconning.
Let's see, I have some details on Edwina's star, Eakin's trinket, Enthier. Right, okay, let me see here. So, where do you go to find out about Enthier?
Oh, I forget what exactly the place should be called, but the we're in the main city of Garganov at the moment, so I believe we need to go to the local, like, what is it, Astronavigator, or
Navigators use charts or maps to navigate and do things. Cartographers tend to be the ones who have maps or make maps.
yes. Let's go ahead and go to the cartographer.
Do you remember the cartographer's name? You've been there before.
I'm aware we've been there before. Let me find my game notes and see if I actually wrote his name down.
I was actually thinking about spending some money to buy some software that would help me manage all these details and be able to find them easier, but apparently that's not going to happen right now. Too many other expenditures.
Never mind. Sphere connects to Garganov. No planetary body. Fiery body classification. Size F. There's no known bases.
No known planets.
I wrote down bases for some reason.
Bases was not mentioned.
Whatever. No known planets.
So investigating that you had found, but investigating where people would go there, you had not.
I would not have written. I did not write down the cartographer's name.
Think really hard and check your messages.
So is that Nick, or is that Nike, or is that Nietzsche, or
How do you say it?
how would you pronounce Nichye?
Niche?
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 Because it could be that. It could be like it's like it's like maybe a weird spelling of Nike. It's
I vote Nick. Nick. With emphasis on the K. Nick.
Goodness.
Anyway, I would go to and address. We'd go to his establishment.
Okay.
Call him Master Nietzsche.
Okay. Yes, how can I help you?
Did I get your name right?
I'll forgive slight vocabulary oddities.
I'm with the Seekers, and we've been in and gotten some information from you before about the Anthrosphere, and we want to see what locations of interest are in the Anthrosphere. Like, where do people congregate there? Any ports of call?
Ah, so you would like to know what locations are traveled to within Anthea?
Yes.
I see. Well, let me investigate
Because from our previous information, there's no known planets or anything like that in the sphere.
Well, no
So
known planets is understandable. Not all spheres have them. However, that does not mean there's no bodies there. Some spheres have no contents other than those brought. As you know, Khatun has the sphere is called Khatun and is simply such because the station there is called such, and there's no other distinguishable features there. That is a very odd situation. However, it does exist. In this case, Anther does not have any planets. It does have a primary fire body that provides warmth and such, and there are a number of portals there to other dimensions. However, there's also a few options for minerals and such there, as well as other gases and such. We're not sure if the portals are actually able to be passed through, or if they're just permitting substances to flow into the sphere. However, I do know there's a number of different stations or locations that are set up there that have taken to acquiring resources.
So it's like a garbage dump. Stuff just falls into it.
set up to study and or collect. Cool. Is there any sort of passage, any sort of cost associated with entering the sphere? I know that some areas,
Yes.
like
Good question. It actually does not, as there's no governing or sphere body of rulership there.
oh, I like the sound of that.
It depends if you like a bunch of rebels and scoundrels and crooks and thieves and other sort of dissidents. Well, sure. Each ownership of any location is given to the person who controls the station. So they might claim an area as their own domain, but only until someone decides to bump them off it, or they decide to move on.
I see. Well, at least make things potentially interesting. I think we can take
If
care
that's
of
what you call
ourselves.
interesting, have a grand time.
That would explain a few of the jobs that we have seen that would
It would indeed.
have us potentially go to this sphere. Out of character, does anyone else have any more questions for this man that I need to ask him?
So it's got places to land. Might not be a great long-term place to be, as in not much more atmosphere around, replenishing itself. But it sounds fun.
I thank the man for his time.
Indeed. Have a nice day.
You too. Cleoc at this time would be trying to do his quartermaster duties and restock the ship. I'll get with Cookie to see exactly how much I need to take away from our funds in order to pay the crew and restock on supplies and all of that. I know that there's a um, upkeep listed, but I don't know exactly when the last
Yeah.
time we took an upkeep.
Yeah, I'd have to ask him that because I don't remember. I've kind of let you guys handle that, so I can handle the other things.
Of course. But anyway, Cleoc's busy doing all of that stuff, making sure we restock,
Okay.
everyone's paid, everyone's happy, no one's looking to mutiny. If anyone is looking to mutiny, would kill them.
Slash.
Give them a bonus.
Disciplinary action.
Anyway, now I would like to go speak to the Frost Foxes.
You want to speak with what?
Unless anyone has anything else I should be doing beforehand, I would like to go speak with the Frost Foxes.
Okay. Give me just one moment.
Take your time.
Yeah, I'm sure you heard it.
Mm-hmm. 'tis the season to mess up schedules. Fa la 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 la.
That's so true.
Oh, yes.
What's the schedule?
So silly question. I imagine that we'll probably have enough people to be available next week, but what about the Monday before Christmas?
Unlikely.
That's what I figured, but
I'm not counting on next week even.
I'll be here next Monday. Don't know what else will be going on.
I'm gonna get something to drink while Nate gets back. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I do get the feeling it's unlikely we're going to get much more progress than this, just because reasons.
Yeah,
None of
kids
us are very
are
driven
hard.
tonight either. I should build my Intel stock and wait for the discount to come.
You should buy AMD stock.
Did that a long time ago.
You should buy more Intel or AMD.
No, it's pretty close to where I expected to peak.
Mhm.
Bought in at 17, 14 to 17. They're at close to 40. And they're just so small. Even at good margins, I don't think they can hold more than 45. They're down to 38 now. 39.
So, what plans did I miss? This has been one interesting time.
All the plans.
We're planning to make plans.
So we're gonna get the Frost Foxes to give us all their money in exchange for transport.
Interesting.
Then we're gonna go
We-
find the
we
highwaymen
didn't
and
really
kill
make
them all.
we didn't really make any plans other than wondering if they was going to get anything else done this session due to certain Andrew wants
Certain
that.
child.
Yeah,
Issues.
sorry.
We're happy to call it. We're not energetic tonight ourselves.
Well, I
Yeah.
wanted to at least stage for next week if we could.
Fair enough.
Because it'd be
So-
fun to make, the session 100 be something nice instead of just, we're deciding to
Fair
do
enough.
some mission at some point.
So call it 99.5.
Give me just one more moment. I found something else out. I just need to open the door and get something.
Right. Oh boy. Get him on our ship and let's get on the quest for next week.
Now, there's one thing we should consider here. Is that the Frost Foxes sound like an adventuring company, and they may be competing with us.
So how are we going to sabotage? I mean, make sure we come in on top.
Let's
Yeah.
just say I'm going to try and gain what
Insights.
their purpose. I'm going to try and get some insight as to what their purpose for going to Antir is.
Fair enough. And we'll drop them off a little bit farther away, and then we'll travel in the rest of the way ourselves. We'll beat them to the target.
I mean, it may decide taking them. Let's say we do have a competing mission. Let's say they want to go after Highwayman too, just for. That means that we could just focus on one of the other myriad of missions in Antir, but it may, change what we decide to do. Taking them over will be a.
We'll just take their money and then drop them off the ship. Didn't say where. They just wanted to go to Anther, right?
Yes.
We can take them to Anther. They didn't specify where in Anther.
I mean, I'm sure we'll get that information because I'm sure it's not just in the middle of space. Reasonably certain.
That's what they want.
Well, it may be payment upon arrival at destination, meaning final destination within Anthir, not just Anthir in
true.
general.
Also, I guess one other potential thing before we really get into negotiations. I know we did this a little bit with the last quest we did this that ended up being a trap. But have we actually found out and determined what the going rate for passage is? So I can figure out if we're being lowballed or not. As in general for let's say a 30-day journey. Room and board, all of that stuff.
I don't know if you guys had.
I mean, we transported someone else before, recently,
Yeah.
and they accepted our offer because it was a trap.
Yep.
So
We also
that's
knew what
that's
they
what
were
I'm going.
charged.
And I know we've escorted other people as well. It's just that we've never really discussed payment beforehand, and I don't necessarily want to get.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the Cleoc and me talking, but I want to
I mean, our
Well,
rate before was based on our cost, and it's not viable to transport one person with this large of a ship and crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because we're transporting in a group, now it's a little bit more economical per person than it would have been for a previous person. So the head cost should be much more reasonable for them versus. So maybe double we charged the one person last time is fine because we make a good amount of money and it's not gouging these people out and it's cheap for them. I don't know.
I think we should at least. I don't. As someone who wants to keep the reputation of the Seekers at least somewhat high at the time being, I think it would probably be in our best interest to not price gouge people.
Right. What I was saying is double what we charged a single person last time for the entire group of 9. It would be a cheap per head while still making us income.
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to, actually figure out what other people are charging. Just out of curiosity.
I thought we had last time.
I would be curious on that too.
What other people are charging?
Yeah.
Because we've never actually requested. I mean, the planet travel on the same planet is certainly much easier and thus much cheaper than traveling in space.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that I've actually found any documentation stating price for travel. So I'm a little bit uncertain what would be a good rating for that.
How about we go triple our cost of transit? Sadly, that's what most companies do when they sell products.
As much as we can roleplay, some of this stuff, I think let's just cut to the chase and say that we negotiate a fair price. We find out and negotiate a fair price.
You'd roll a diplomacy to do that, and if you roll decent, then yes, it'd be a fair price. If you go very high up, you'd get a premium price, and if you go really low, then you get a not as in your favor price.
That's fair.
Then let's do that.
I'm okay with this. Anyway, let's cut to the chase.
Yes, I'm good with that.
We go and talk to the leader of the Frost Foxes for like the 4th time this session, and
yes,
and hopefully we don't get interrupted by anything.
Yeah. So to expedite, you talk to her, you're talking with her, you're dialoguing about the trip, you get some stuff figured out, and you roll your persuasion check now for someone in the group to determine against her, basically DC, on what the rate will be.
Anyone gonna help?
How's your charisma versus Cookies? I thought his was the highest.
Doran's here.
Oh,
I thought we were having Doran negotiate, so I'm rolling it against Doran's.
Of course.
What's Doran has for
charisma? Doran's not negotiating with a lady.
Did you say persuasion?
Yes.
That's a 27.
That's not very good.
Would you like assistance with that?
I see why Doran is not for the ruin crawl.
Well, look, the Doran's a rogue. Persuasion is actually one of the 2 things I put expertise in.
Oh, I figured.
And I have a high charisma since I'm a swashbuckler. And charisma is actually very good for my subclass of rogue.
Right.
Yeah.
You are boots. Puss and boots.
If someone would like for me to, if I did have some way to get advantage, that's fine. But
nah, you're good. Yeah, no, that's a good reason. I mean, I could see you being first mate or captain with that sort of abilities, but being newer to the group, I understand why that's also not necessarily the case.
The thing about it is that 1, Doran is relatively new to the group still. 2, he's probably been too busy carousing during his downtime.
I was just going to say, however, you could always be someone that the captain and first mate use for dealing with others for their ship's advantage.
Needless to say, he's a lot of things Kleok isn't, and one of that is, at least by his stats, very good at talking.
What is your charisma, out of curiosity?
16.
Nice.
So he's like Baden, except he talks better. plus 10 to persuasion instead of plus 10 investigation.
I'm plus 9 to persuasion at the moment
Oh,
because proficiency bonus is plus 3 at the moment, and then charisma is
right.
plus 3, and then expertise doubles proficiency. So my persuasion is plus 9.
I forget my
Nice.
intelligence is plus 4 for Baden.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Nersil actually has a 16 on charisma as well because of Warlock.
And Doran doesn't have this until level 6, but I get but swashbucklers basically get taunt based on charisma, and then also I get my charisma mod to initiative
Nice.
as well.
Yeah, no, Swashbuckler definitely is not a bad class that they came out with. That's in Xanathar's, isn't it? No. Yes, it
Yes,
is.
and
Yes, it is.
he's and even though I've got a short bow, I actually use dual wield with him just to give myself an extra chance to sneak attack. Because swashbucklers get the fancy footwork class trait, which is I can any target I attack on my turn, I do not provoke opportunity attacks against for the rest of the turn, so I could dash, get in and out, get 2 chances to sneak attack. Of course, attacking with offhand, it doesn't allow my cunning action because cunning action is a bonus action if I remember right. But getting 2 chances to sneak attack instead of 1 makes Doran a consistently better damage dealer than normal.
Makes sense.
Although still being in melee means, at least close to the action, means potential bad things happen to him. That's fine. Like every one-on-one fight, he's tried to get in to show his dominance and getting his butt kicked, even though he's better suited for one-on-one fights than most rogue gets. Womp womp.
I've been digging around for travel costs. It's an interesting topic that is not well covered. The only thing I found is suggestion that the traveling between spheres, like, well, people are talking about why would you even bother with a Spelljammer ship when you can, pay a mage to use plane shift for
Because
instantaneous. They're hard to find mages of that level and it costs
right.
a lot.
Well, it's not just that. I was going to throw out another thing. If you actually read some of the spelljamming documentation, you can't always shift back to a different material plane. It depends on which plane you go to. For example, the Feywild and the Shadowfell, or Shadow
Yeah.
Plane, are
Fun
near
places.
material plane, which means if you shift from and back, you tend to go back to the same material plane you left, not a different
Interesting.
sphere. So you'd have to go outside that, and if you go outside that, the risk starts increasing. And so, if you want to, say, travel to the Nine Hells or the Abyss, and then back to material plane, then you could potentially go to a different sphere. However, you have to know where you're going, or there's risks of issues. Very big
Okay.
risks.
Teleportation without
In
knowing
theory,
is
in a very
bad.
vague theory, sure. But that's in a very, very vague theory.
Okay.
About the best I can see here is, far as costs go, is that our current ship upkeep is 12.5 gold per day for supplies, 4.8 gold per day to pay the crew, plus whatever bonuses it is. It's 4 gold per month for our crew member, for each of our crew members,
I thought
and
it
then
was
whatever.
for. Okay.
Plus whatever bonus we decide to give them for successful missions.
Mm-hmm.
But I basically want to talk to Cookie about that before I know that we need to pay the crew with our current
Right,
supplies.
right,
But
right.
So we've negotiated a premium rate with that roll
Yes.
from the best. Yeah, cool.
So somewhere under 5K.
Yeah.
Well, no, I looked up the cost of like doing a magical instantaneous transport. Like that's what, and above double the daily rate of use of our crew and ship, like the upkeep costs. So somewhere between double the upkeep cost times the amount of days, and 5K was where a premium rate would fall. Like we just need to do that math. So was it 30? How many days?
29.
29 days. And he says 12 gold and 4.5. What are the upkeep costs, Cleo?
the upkeep is 12.5 gold per day for supplies.
And 4.5
That's
for
for
crew.
the entire ship. That's not per person. That's for the entire ship.
That includes the crew costs.
The crew cost is 4.8 gold per day for the crew.
Is it 12 total,
In addition
including
to
crew, or is it?
I don't think so. I think they're separate.
Okay, so
At
it's
least
Yeah.
how I read it out of this.
okay. So you said it was 12.8 per day for
So
the ship.
12.5 for supplies, 4.8 for crew. So that would
So
be
17.3.
17.3 per day.
So we can charge 50 gold a day. 1,500 gold.
That's a lot.
That's 300% of our operating costs. Let me put it this way. In my engineering business class, I said we should sell our product for 200% of our build costs. And the professor said that's too little. You should go to 300% or more. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, just doing our exact costs times days times 9 members is 4,300. And so the instantaneous cost for one, how many people can go through a transport plant or a plane shift? Would the whole group be able to go? I think so. But so then more than 5 grand is reasonable just because our own costs are.
Well,
your own costs aren't
it's
that.
500.
500, 484. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can charge them 3,000 for all of them.
It's five. Yeah, it's a little over 500 for just your costs
Yeah.
getting there. So if you charge more than that, then you're making whatever profit you charge above that. So certainly they would expect you to request some profit. Just how much is the question.
I'm good with as little as 1,500 total, but it'd be nice to have 500 per person, kind of, which would be 4,500. But that's operating cost. That's operating cost per person.
I think
Yeah.
300 or 400 a head is much more reasonable. I think 400 a head is like premium. 500 a head is just like knocking the heads off.
400 head sounds good.
I'm kind of looking at it from a different take. I mean,
Shoot.
it's even like 50 gold is a massive amount of money for
For
standard
the common person.
person.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think these are common people, but
Out of curiosity, do any of you remember the name? Because it has come up before.
Frost foxes?
It was right before your time, Baden, so you might not.
yes, I'm quite aware of this name because they happen to before your time, Baden, we took a mission to try and rescue a lady from an orc stronghold.
They
This
didn't
was
do that
the.
one. They didn't do that one.
That wasn't
They're
them.
the competition,
No.
so why do we have a problem gouging them?
They were the ones who rescued a lady from a swamp that you didn't do.
Ah,
And by the time you'd have gotten there, she would have been no longer able to be rescued. So I rolled, and
because
it
they
came
had
out
rescued
that,
her beforehand.
well, no, actually. It was a timed mission. You weren't aware that there was time because the person who did the mission wasn't aware of the timed constraint. But there was a threat. And so I rolled to see if the mission was failed because the time elapsed or because someone else was able to get there first. And luckily for the person who gave the mission as well as the person who was rescued, it came up with the fact that another company had taken it and succeeded.
I knew the Frost Foxes sounded familiar, but I wasn't going to.
Yeah, you're good.
So that's part of the reason why I had asked the. I don't know if you had overheard any of this, but I had said it's like, well, maybe we can, glean a little bit about why they're wanting to go here and see if they're actually competing against us against any of the missions that we have, or also thinking about undertaking.
That is true.
Well, that is something that Doran could speak with. Since Doran is the one negotiating, I kind of put it up to him to decide which price point and which sort of questions and stuff he would ask, because he's the one who is the spokesman for the group to them. So either he can make questions or you guys can try to speak with them during the trip.
As part of the negotiations, I would ask what their destination is and such inside of the sphere.
There's
As
a
of
location, a base in there that they're wanting to get to. Exactly what it is, I need time to think after today's chaos.
Okay.
So I will get
That's
that
fair.
to you, and they tell you.
Just a thought. The transfer they're requesting, is it just to the main dock, or is it to a location inside the sphere? Do they want additional intersphere transport?
They need to get to a location within the sphere. It's not
Okay.
traveling back and forth in the sphere, but it's to the sphere, to a destination within the sphere. So it's basically like saying
Copy
we
that.
want to go from Katoon to Hathel, sort of thing. Instead of just
are they
dropped off in the middle of
expecting
nowhere.
us to wait around to take them back? Are they
No,
meaning for this to be round trip?
they are just wanting to get there to pursue something there.
All right.
Out of curiosity, may I ask what that is?
Yes.
Therefore, I ask it.
Yes. You do ask it. And you get an answer. An answer.
At a later time.
At a later time, yes.
I'm trying to get some notes down, so give me just a minute. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves about what you want to do and kind of what you're planning and thinking. Give me just a moment to quickly get a few notes down and we'll be good.
Any special needs or anything for your trip that we need to accommodate?
Just
Potentially
food and standard board, room and board,
No
standard fare.
allergies to be worried about. You can have peanuts, all that stuff. Can't have peanuts? Alright, we'll be sure to not have that.
Now,
Do you know where we could buy coconut?
Doran, you would probably
Yes.
actually be quite interested because they're all very fine-looking females. Just to make sure you're aware, it is a full female
Oh,
group.
yes.
It is 9 females.
Great.
So
Keep
just want to make
all
sure.
limbs and
I'm on my absolute best behavior.
Shouldn't he have had disadvantage when negotiating with him then?
No.
He had assistance, so it was a straight roll.
He can choose to or not. Now, he can negotiate a premium. However, being able to negotiate a premium doesn't mean that he chose to charge a premium. It just means he's in a position in the negotiation that he is skilled enough to have done so. He may choose to actually charge a lesser rate to just cover the cost or slightly above so the crew doesn't get mad at him, but have a lower rate to make the group more interested or happy with him. And that is something that Doran, and Doran alone, must decide, as he is the one who made the negotiation.
What did we consider fair rate amongst ourselves? Was that the
3 to 4K. Like it's a fair rate.
Yeah.
We don't know. Like,
well, a fair rate would be at least, you want something above 500. 500 covers your costs, so you at least want 500. How much
I would say you
that
at least
do
want
you want to
1,000.
make?
Yeah. I'd say
lot
you
of
at least
money.
want 1,000 because you have to be able to put up with a failed mission in the future. So this is trip, and it's double your trip cost.
right?
That seems to be like a fair baseline would be 1,000.
That would be the minimum
Yeah,
on a bad roll
yeah.
that I'd go for. 1,500 be okay on the low end of an okay fare. 3,000 is a good premium amount.
Yeah.
3 to 4,000, somewhere in there.
But I do agree that under 5K is the correct.
Yeah.
Based on
We went
spells.
10,000 gold.
Based on spell cost for instantaneous transport. That may not work in this instance, but still. Like,
Due to the travel and potential dangers, time costs, travel costs. So we believe a fair rate would be around 2,500 gold pieces for your entire group. We anticipate travel to take 29 days.
All right. Could you say that again, Doran? I was quickly getting something down. Sorry.
2,500.
2,500?
Yep.
We can see that as a fair deal. So, there you go. That's a nice.
Very well then. When are you seeking to head out? We should be able. Excellent. I'll make sure that we have completed all of our preparations for the extra passengers, and we will get you shortly. But we should be by tomorrow at the latest, if not sooner.
Excellent. We appreciate that. So,
Our ship is the Seeker's Salvation.
is the
We
ferry.
are in. If you would like to look at the ship before we head out, we are in dock, whatever dock we're in.
Excellent. We appreciate that. We will take a look and get our things and be ready when you are.
Very well then. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to quickly find a picture for Cleok, or for Doran, so you know kind of what people you're talking to. You may already have theories, but
And Doran's kind of, it's like, 29 days to in a cramped space. Oh man, this short time to work with, but I think I can handle it. Doran's being on its best behavior for this, seeing the potential opportunities for later.
Oh, certainly.
Many potential opportunities. Countless. Well,
Absolutely. Oh.
countable. Countable.
How does Dorn feel about non-human species?
Well, he's a half elf, so he's probably a little bit more tolerant, but he's.
Roll a
But
interaction die.
But depending on what species they are, it may influence his decision.
Near human.
Near human.
Close enough.
Near human often is a general term used to refer to humanoids that are almost human. A slight deviation, so technically elves could be considered near humans. What are you laughing
Mm.
So
about?
humanoids.
Baden's comment. Is there anyone interested in you besides you, Doran?
Is there anyone what?
Interested in you besides you.
Ah,
We were asking the TSA customs questions.
Is there anyone interested in you besides Dor?
oh, I see. I was out of the chat.
Rio asks, it's like, is there? Well, that's kind of what I asked about special needs, in which it's just human. We're unlikely to be attacked with a phlogiston. That would be.
Special needs. Heightened thirst.
Special needs that Doran can't provide for.
Oh.
Dry mouth.
Alright, I found a picture that will work. So, that picture is for you, since you spoke with them. You can use your own dialogue and reactions to the group and let them keep guessing.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Are you changing the price?
Up or down?
No, I'm not changing the price, but
You already made it pretty low.
But how does Doran feel about it?
so at least how I interpret this picture as to what race this is. I'm not sure how much Doran actually knows about. I don't know. I need to decide whether Doran knows enough about what he sees to be careful.
Probably not. That species isn't a very widely known and has not really been encountered by anyone else in the group yet.
Oh boy.
Share the class.
We're going to follow them for sure.
So what we have here are basically humanoid-looking ladies who also happen to have a number of fox-like tails.
The Foster Foxes make sense.
Yes, it does. I must say your name is quite appropriate.
Do they have ears as well, or just the tails?
I mean, as the picture given to me has got the picture looks like it's difficult to tell whether those are actual fox ears or ears, but it's pointed ears out of the side of the ears where like human ears would be. I don't know if that's the intention or not.
There's variation between them. Some have, less pointed ears. Some have more vulpine ears.
Wouldn't Baden feel anything about them?
Baden doesn't know, because Baden hasn't seen a picture.
I think that's a great place to pick up next.
So, next week, we get to have the adventures of traveling 29 days on a Spelljammer to a new sphere.
With company.
Yes, with 9 additional members on your ship.
Frosty foxes.
Hey, you could have gone with, helping the Visions of Loyalty or the the company of the Axe Thunder, but you chose the Frost Foxes.
Which Doran is quite happy with. For the moment.
For the moment, yeah.
I don't know. I know it's kind of. I don't necessarily want to play Doran as a, for lack of a better term, womanizer, but he's very much looking to.
He definitely
Womanize.
is.
He's looking for adventures in all.
In all
in many
areas of
manners.
life.
In all meanings of the word.
He likes adventures like that. He also likes. I said that he'd often spend some of his downtime either carousing or potentially screwing nobles out of the money.
Literally?
Charlatan.
Yes, very much.
So, if we like having them around, maybe we could invite them to join our party.
No.
No, you don't want 9 more characters?
You
No, I
could
do not.
try.
I was mostly joking.
But a tail would look nice.
Would
on
Rio
my
like
wall.
the competition?
Actually, it'd probably be nice to have some more variation, being that, didn't we decide that most of the crew was male?
Probably.
Actually, the majority of the crew is of unknown race and gender.
Has not been
we
rolled.
haven't really defined it.
As far
I
as we
thought
know, we have no idea.
we have
There-
no idea.
there is- what is it? 36 individuals on board of an unknown race and gender.
Yes, I think we decided that most sailors were in general male, but that may have been just a guesstimate. It's probably something we should find out about our crew at some point. Like, do we have a whole bunch of lizard people in our crew,
You might.
or some orcs,
But
half
do you
orcs?
really care? It's just scrubs.
Now we're paying this trained crew a fair amount of gold.
Yeah,
I don't care as long as they get the job done.
that's the thing. You just looked for those who are trained. You didn't specify any other details. If you're just specifying
Yep.
trained crew, you take whatever they are. Unless you
Okay.
specify
Technically,
human trained
The
crew.
thing about it is that for the most part they want to make money, and unless they want the monks' punishments, they're going to behave. Doran.
I think
Oh,
we probably had a few other rules on who we accepted for crew, like maybe no drow or something like that. Pretty sure that the elves in the party would approve.
There's elves in the party at the time of their hiring?
I don't know. Maybe it was only half elves. And actually, I don't remember if Dorian was around when we hired
Doran
them. I
was
think
not.
he was.
Doran
was
actually.
just released around the time of the crew being hired. It was
Oh,
We didn't have the
fairly
ship.
close
I
to
didn't
the same
remember
timing.
which. I
know
thought
if
we
we had
had
the ship,
them
though.
before we had the ship. I don't remember, but I thought we had Dorian and them before we had the ship.
Also,
Bad mem-
I don't know this for sure, but Doran's backstory is that he actually wasn't, plucked from. He he's not a groundling per se. So he's very much he's
Words.
a little more tolerant of what would be considered basic, maybe normal normal racial enemies than others, because he's seen a whole bunch of people. He's been up here a while.
Yeah, and actually Squeaks had been on Spelljammers before, so he actually came with proficiency in them because he was trained by his master on it. So, yeah. Those who are trapped aren't all groundlings like the initial group.
I think Hestra was also had been on a Spelljammer before, though I don't think she had any skills with it. I think she was just a passenger.
But basically, I made Doran's backstory as, basically his parents were people who traveled in to various spheres. I don't really have a home sphere, or had a home sphere, but basically, taking around the various crystal spheres, he's seen a fair number of people. He's very used to basically places like Cocoon, which are, kind of, I don't know, lack for a better word, trade centers that see many, many, many different people, and he hasn't had the same sort of stigma for drow or dwarves or whatever potential things that he would that a stereotypical half elf would have problems with.
Yeah, a lot more flexible.
What about Illithids?
What about Illithids? Nobody likes those guys.
Hey, that's not true. Neogi like the Illithids. Neogi and Illithids get along pretty well.
As I said, nobody likes those guys.
You were talking about, racial biases and stuff.
Take anyone that's not evil.
Now, Doran's not necessarily good, but he's not evil either.
That's why I said it like that. Neutral, chaotic, whatever.
I didn't make
chaotic neutral is pretty popular.
I made him more true neutral. I put on his character sheet true neutral, but I'm probably playing him a lot more chaotic neutral.
You haven't seemed to be straight out like laws. So I'd say it's
neutral.
More neutral.
Me is still true neutral.
You seem to be very much more. So far with Doran, you seem very much more. I don't care about law. I don't care about chaos. I don't care about good. I don't care about evil. You equally seem to don't like.
I care about having a good time.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily mean that you hate law, because you might see, well, laws have their place, but you need not too many of them, but not having none causes problems. That kind of shifts you more towards the more center aisle.
I kind of have, when it suits me, my own little personal honor code-ish.
Well, a personal honor code can actually be held by any of the 9 alignments.
Yeah.
A personal honor code for, say, everyone, a lot of people like using a chaotic good rogue called Robin Hood. Seems to be a very popular choice for talking about alignments. Well, he was a very, very, very strict, almost perceived as lawful good individual when it came to his own code. However, he still falls under the chaotic good category because, yes, he is good, but he is against the existing law of the land. And so that's where that falls.
I could argue that both ways, because I would say that he was only against the unjust laws.
Well, he technically, if you look at historical aspect of it, he was against the laws that were put in place by a wrongfully appointed ruler and actually backed the previous laws and previous ruler who should have actually still been in place.
That's why I would say he's still lawful, or he's at least neutral. I don't feel like he's chaotic for that reason, but there's so many depictions of him, it's hard to agree on it.
He is technically still chaotic because he did say he is against the law. Now that's part of the issue with the whole system, is that you technically do shift within the 9 depending on where you're at. Because a lawful good paladin wouldn't be as lawful as soon as you get into a lawful neutral, or a, even less lawful, more chaotic society, then he starts having an issue.
Yeah, lawful good paladin in a lawful evil society would have trouble staying with their alignment. They'd either be chaotic good or lawful evil.
Now, I've also seen interpretations to the scale is that lawful also fits entirely with your personal code. Is that if you have a code and you stick to it no matter what, you're lawful. You don't necessarily have to agree with the laws of the land, but if your code is everything.
And that's the issue with the alignment system. It's not perfect, which is why I don't use it as a hard fast. It's good to know.
What was her name from Mass Effect? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
It's alright. It's kind of a good thing to have as what your character normally or majority of the time embodies and follows, but it's not an absolute.
Well, what was the name of the blue paladin girl from Mass Effect 2? I can't remember her name right now.
Justicar?
Yeah, she was the Justicar. I don't remember what her name was, but I consider that as like a lawful paladin.
Yeah. But she actually was following the laws of the land. The laws that her land, not necessarily where she resided. It still was the laws of the land, which was the society she was raised in. And that's part of where I was saying,
she was following the laws that she was there, but she was in another society, and like at one point she was complying with the laws where she was only as far as her own laws required her to comply.
Right, but it wasn't her personal code that she was lawful towards.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. It was the laws of
but it wasn't
society,
the one she was
culture.
local to either.
No, and it doesn't that's not the only determining factor.
Okay, because I thought you'd said earlier that as you move around through places to some place that's, say, like chaotic evil or whatever.
Or no. It becomes more of a difficulty for it the further away you get from a society of that, for your alignment to stay the way it is. For example, like they said, a lawful good paladin in a lawful evil society is going to have a hard time with his alignment, simply because either he can follow his own lawful code, but then he's going to start bumping up against the laws of the land where he's in, so he's going to be a criminal, or he's going to be bumping up against permitting, still being lawful and allowing non-good things to happen. So he may still be lawful good, it's just it adds challenges sometimes to embody it to a maximum extreme. So that's why I'm just saying.
Okay, yep.
We'll put that aside now for the whole discussion, but that they are good for role playing, but they aren't a law to abide by. All right. So the plan next week is for you guys to take the Frost Foxes to Anthier and conduct some business there. As well
That is
as
correct.
to do
Yep.
which missions there?
I have noted them with 100 on the notes page.
Was the first one
I'll
we were
just
going to do there
copy
the
them into the
highwayman?
bottom.
Okay, thank you.
I'll copy them to the bottom of the notes in
Well,
order of
did we
priority.
decide? Okay, I was going to say in order of priority because that way Nate knows which one we're going to do first.
Yes.
And I was thinking it was the highwayman was the one listed first, or highwayman.
And I appreciate you reposting it, Baden. I wanted to get in my personal notes so I can more easily open them and review them.
I understand.
I have to keep separate notes because I can't keep public notes.
There. They're in the notes section at the bottom.
Thank you. I'm showing Atron as being an unknown sphere outside of Eakin's trinket. Where did you get Anthier from for that one?
Which did I misspell one?
Atron?
Anther and Enether. Alright, that was the same ones.
No.
Oh.
Anthier is Anthir. Atron is an individual. I don't see Atron's quest saying anything about
Oh, it might have
that.
copied incorrectly. I might have thought that
Yeah.
was a typo since it was so one letter from a place we already had.
I'm not seeing a point of origin on that one though.
Alright. Well, if it's not there,
Maybe
I'm
maybe I did put it there, didn't get in my notes. That's what I'm trying to ask where you picked that from. Because, you know, I make mistakes in my notes sometimes too.
if that is the actual spelling of a place,
Anthier is unknown is unknown.
right? So Atron, you posted as Atron quest is an Enthir to unknown.
Okay. So
That
I
could have been a
must
typo there.
No, if I put Anthier, then I must have just not had in my notes.
Alright.
I just didn't see that. Oh, I see what happened. Anthier wasn't always spelt the same way, and it should have been. Oh, I think I know what happened.
Oh, we actually never. We do need to potentially speak to some of the other people while we're making preparations as to for these other missions because we actually technically
Yep.
haven't done that.
I'd like to investigate to talk to anyone who's here regarding all four of those. The other 3.
All right. So those are the 3 missions you're considering undertaking, correct?
Beyond the Frost Foxes, yes.
Beyond them. I assumed you're already doing them since you negotiated rates.
Yes.
If you choose not to, then it's a breach of contract, essentially. So.
Yeah.
Also, I know we
Crazy.
discussed it a little bit earlier, but I know that all of our notes say from here to here at speed 6. We know that we upgraded our ship to another speed, but our travel time isn't necessarily that much faster.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have reviewed the spelljamming documents at all or not. But I hadn't
I'm
found
okay
anything
with
in
I
here
keeping-
need to
that says
refresh
it yet.
myself, but yeah.
I'm okay with keeping the distance between spears about the same. We can investigate more to see if 90 days becomes less, though.
Yeah. The other thing to consider is that the speed is more of an issue when you start getting into combat.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes extremely valuable to have additional speed.
Mhm.
Because if you have
We
high
lowered
enough
our speed by 1. We lowered our AC by 1 on the ship to make our speed +1, which is
Mhm.
probably a win overall. But ideally, we're not getting into ship-to-ship combat anytime soon, because that's expensive real quick. I can't imagine fixing the ship would be very cheap. Let's just say that.
So, if we're good, we'll pick up there next week. Sorry, this week's been just crazy, and we didn't get as much as we would have liked. But, yeah. Next week we should have a lot more fun and adventure. I got a few things to kind of mull over and try to generate and plan, but we should be good.
I'm trying to update the Seeker's Salvation document and go from and upload it to Google Docs.
Okay.
I'll do that tonight or tomorrow.
See you guys.
Take
Later,
care, man.
Sheridan.
See you, Sheridan.
There is
See ya.
the PDF ship doc, kind of like a character sheet, in the Spelljammer PDF that I shared with you. That has that sheet, so you could use that if you wanted to have kind of like a single character sheet for a lot of the
Yeah.
information. He added additional things to the document that are just options.
Yeah, like a Word document or something like that.
Yeah, it's a Word document right now that he's using. It has additional options that can be done, like notes for missions and star map detail.
Yeah.
And upgrades that you could potentially purchase and the fee for purchasing them. So I just want to make sure I mention the other because it could allow you to have a single sheet for, say, combat to reference instead of a big doc that you're scrolling through. That's all. So, all right. Well, then I will see you all next week. Have fun and let's enjoy next time.
Sounds
Take
good.
care.